Hello everybody and welcome back to Blanche Case Fitness. It's Tuesday and you know what that means. It's time for Perpetual Motion, the class where we never stop moving. And yes, I've dusted off the old BRC shirt, although no, this is not a BRC class. I was just lazy. Hi everybody. Good to see you. I am on my rest week, which is part of the reason why I'm not wearing full usual workout gear, to remind myself that no, I'm not working out today. The other part of it is that a load of laundry went in this morning at 9 and I only just remembered it was still in the washer. So it's in the dryer now, but not really usable for class. But hi everybody. It's good to see you all. Welcome back. Welcome back to the stream. I hope that you had a good weekend. I definitely, it was a tiring weekend. A very, there was some very fun friend hangout time and lots of video game time, which was nice. But yeah, just, we've talked about it a lot, just continuing to try and figure out how to care for ourselves as we move back into a world that expects us to go out and do things, which is tiring. So I took a wellness day yesterday, actually, a very needed one. I'm feeling much better today, which is good. Yay. But yeah, it's just, something we're going to be working through for a while, I think. So say we all. But for now, we are here. We are here at class. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, if you're new to the stream, hi, welcome. This is Perpetual Motion. It's a slightly different class than my other bodyweight classes on this channel because it lives up to its name and also its other name, which is the Half Marathon of HIIT classes. So normally when we would do a workout timer during one of my classes, we get to the end of that timer and final horn goes off and you're like, all right, guess I'm gonna stand around, hang out, and drink some water and get ready for the next set. Today's class, when we get to the end of a workout timer, we instead immediately start doing our active rest exercise, which for this class is an exercise called cross jacks, which I will demonstrate when we get to the time when it's needed. But that happens every time. So from the moment that the warm-up starts to the very end of class, we do not stop moving. All right, so it's a very different type of stamina that we need. And you need to come to class prepared to be trying to move the whole time. That's our goal. Our goal is to not stop moving. If this is your first time, I usually do class alongside with you, but this week is my rest week, and we take rest very seriously around here. So I am not going to be doing class with y'all. I'm just going to be doing quick demonstrations of exercises, but otherwise cheerleading you through. Woo woo. And let me tell you, I need the rest because my shoulder does not know what to do with itself right now. And that, I think we've talked before about how, stress and mental health and physical health are tied together, which is why it's so ridiculous that we have these insurance policies that are like, they're separate things. It's like, no, they're really not. But I won't go down that particular soapbox rant for now. But yeah, when I know that I have always had the experience of physical manifestations of stress, so if I'm super stressed or if my mental health is not great, if I'm, worn down and, overtired and overworked, I will start getting manifestations of that in my body. And one of the quickest signs these days is flaring up in my shoulder, my chronic shoulder stuff. So that's not been fun. Not been fun at all. And I'm about to switch insurances, so I'm gonna try and get a primary care appointment on the books so I can talk to somebody a little more in depth about this, and hopefully go see my chiropractor soon, because that always helps as well. But yeah, definitely necessary to have a rest week this week, because my shoulder would not be pleased if I was over here trying to work out right now. But you're here because you're going to work out. Woo! Aren't you excited? So, yeah, let's stop bandying about. Let's do our pre-class checklist, my friends. You have got your water in whatever vessel you are using. And yes, even though I am not doing class with you, I am still going to endeavor to drink this entire thing, because hydration is important whether or not we are working out. Raw. You've got your comfy clothes, whatever that means to you. If that means moisture-wicking spandex and all the latest gear, awesome. If that means cotton t-shirt and board shorts, awesome. Whatever you feel comfortable in, whatever you can move easily in, okay? You've got your mat or mat-sized space on the floor. And if you use a fitness wearable, you can go ahead and turn them on right now. I'm not gonna bother turning mine on, but we use a high-intensity interval training setting for this class, so whatever wearable you use, try to get it to a setting akin to that. If you use the Apple Watch like I do, it does have a HIIT setting on it specifically, so that makes it easy enough. And if you don't use a wearable at all, don't worry about it. It's just something I say because I always used to forget to turn my watch on, so I like to remind myself, but it's by no means a requirement or even a recommendation. It's just a tool that you can use if it's helpful, and you do not need to use if it's not. Yay! All right, let's get going, my friends. So we're gonna start with our warm-up, our 16-minute warm-up. It's gonna be really funny since I'm not doing class. I'll have a lot more time to talk about form. Yeah. I can see all of my normal students rolling their eyes as if I don't always talk about form already. And you know what? You're right. But hey. So, let's get this warm-up started. It's the same warm-up that we do in front of all of the classes currently. So that makes it nice and easy to learn. So and remember, as soon as we start this warm-up, you're moving for the next hour. All right, so everybody on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee, and as soon as that timer horn goes off, we will begin with hip rocks and bridges, all right? Oh, that was very quiet, but that was the starting horn. I will turn that up a bit. So the next one is not so quiet. So when we do our hip rocks and bridges, this is an initial opportunity to start activating our core muscles, because we're pushing the leg off the floor with the foot, yeah, obviously, but that's only gonna get us like to here. So if we want our hips to come off the floor, even just a little bit, because this is a warm-up, we need to contract those abdominal muscles, and that helps to lift the hips off, all right? So this is our first opportunity to start getting our core involved. And then we put that foot back on the floor, flat on the floor, but then we come up to the ball of the foot, and then we do the hip bridge, okay? And that just lets us get a little bit higher because of, all right, switch feet. Because we have this 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee, trying to do a bridge with the standing foot flat on the floor, you're just not going to be able to get very high because this apparatus is restricting your range of motion. So we bring that foot up onto the ball of the foot, and then we can get a little bit higher, okay? So that's all we're really going for. So remembering that this is the warm-up, this is our opportunity to start booting up systems. So we are not going for, yeah, I'm immediately sprinting out of the gate going for 100%. That's not how you would start a half marathon, and that's not how you should start class, all right? So remember, This is a 16-minute sequence, and we move through different muscle groups, different joints, different types of activities, and we are going to ramp up, and it's okay to just ramp with the exercises. Hey, that was a lot louder. All right, now for our leg sequence. So we start with Jane Fonda, lying in a straight line on our sides and just lifting that top leg, all right? And so a few things to think about from a form perspective. I talk a lot about how you can use the long edge of your mat as a guide to set yourself up along if you have difficulty getting into this position without that assistance. You're going to want your core engaged so that your hips are less likely to roll backwards or forwards, because this is a little bit of a balance, and we're on that ball and socket joint, which is round, so not great for balance. And when we lift the leg, we want to engage the glute on the working side, just to keep that leg in line with the rest of the body rather than letting it drift forward or pulling it too far back, okay? Now, we take that top foot, put it flat on the floor in front of the bottom leg, and we are lifting the bottom leg now, while simultaneously trying to pull that knee back so that it's pointing straight up towards the ceiling. It's going straight over that foot. It's not trying to cave forward, okay? So this gives us our first opportunity to engage the muscles around the hip socket, all right? And this is a low stress place for us to practice that safe knee positioning that we're going to want for any sort of squats or anything like that once we actually get up on our feet. So you will notice that you have one side that's probably more flexible than the other, so this may be harder or easier depending on the flexibility of your hips, and you'll be able to compare that when we go and do the other side. But first, beach pose. Yeah, so we took that top foot, we put it flat on the floor behind the bottom knee, and we're still lifting that bottom leg, but now we're just in this nice chill position, okay? We've got this triangle here, a nice stable position, so we're not worried about the hips rolling around anywhere. We don't have to work hard to keep the knee pointing up towards the ceiling because this is a much more open position to have the leg. So we can really just focus in on the leg lift itself, all right? And we don't have to literally just, hand on my head, just chilling, and we can just focus in on that leg lift. Now, when we hear the horn again, we're going to switch to the other side, and we're going to do that exact same sequence of 3 exercises on the other side. All right, so here we go. Going back to Jane, okay, so back to that balance, back to that core engagement. You may notice that the working leg, the top leg right now, is feeling a little bit more worn than it did on the other side. That's because this is the 3rd interval in a row that you've been using this top leg as the working leg, because it was the bottom leg for the last 2 bottom leg sequences, and then we turned around and turned it into the top leg. So totally normal. If that's something that you notice frequently in class, then try and switch up which side you start on each time you're here, okay? I'm just a major creature of habit, so I don't remember to switch up that frequently, but if it's something that you notice, if it's something that's bothering you, then yeah, try and switch up whatever your starting leg is and go from there. All right, so now we go back to this position, and yeah, how does it feel on this side? So for me, my left hip has far more flexibility, so I can really just set my leg here and not have to think about it too much. I'm not really engaged. I'm engaging some of the muscles in the hip to pull that knee back, but I'm not having to really consciously think about it because the flexibility is such that it already was 99% of the way there. So I can really focus on that leg lift over here rather than also having to keep the knee from caving forward. And again, if your knee hands up, sort of in this diagonal position here. It's not the end of the world because we're not standing, we're not putting that weight on this. But we want to practice good positioning for when we do hit those points where it becomes more important. All right, and now beach pose on the second side. So this is the end of this leg sequence, and we are just going to be, beach posing again. The foot, for all of these, honestly, I'm pretty agnostic. So I tend to go somewhere between a fully flexed foot and sort of a neutral foot. You can also feel free to point the leg, you know, if you have dance training, if that feels more natural to you, go for it. But whatever, you will notice differences in how the muscles are engaged depending on that positioning, but I don't feel strongly about what that experience is, okay? So make your choices however you want to, and enjoy. Test different things out, and you can see what they feel like. All right, so now we move into hips and back, starting with our scorpion twist. So we plant those forearms on the ground like this, and we swing one leg back behind us, trying to get that foot flat on the floor, trying to get that knee pointing up towards the ceiling, and then roll back to the center and other side. And we just go back and forth like that. The main thing is that we are not letting our elbow come off the ground, okay? So if you can't go farther without lifting your elbow, then you just, this is the top of how far you can twist in this right now. And that's fine, because this provides us both a guide for the upper range of our flexibility in this exercise, and a guide for us to track, ooh, I think my flexibility is getting a little bit better, okay? So it does double duty in that way. All right. Then we stand on up, and we take our imaginary PVC pipe, and we start doing these nice big torso rotations. All right, I want you to change directions every 2 rotations. That's generally what I do because we're only doing this once. And remember, so our feet are about shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit wider. Okay, so not super wide, but definitely not a narrow position. And we want to make sure that the movement is generated from the hips, okay? So we're not moving the arms and following after them. We're not diving down with our heads. We are basically taking a flat back position all the way over. Our back will curve at the bottom of the position, but all of the movement generation is coming from the hips. And then we just take that imaginary PVC pipe above our heads, and now we're doing squats. Basically the same leg position, assuming that you can keep the knees safely over the feet the whole time without them trying to cave in towards each other, okay? At any point, sometimes you're able to get down into the low part of the position, but then as you try to stand, those knees start trying to come towards each other. So if you're experiencing that, just narrow the stance. Super easy modification, and then you can practice there until you've built up the strength. And then a few classes down the line, you go, all right, I'm going to widen the position again. I'm going to test it out, see if I am able to maintain that knee positioning the whole time now. All right? So, yeah, never be afraid to modify when you are not able to do exactly the exercise yet, okay? Now we're doing Sampson stretches. So we're taking a nice deep lunge, long leg behind us, hips pointing forward, reaching those hands up towards the ceiling, and then we stand up to that front leg and other side. And we just go back and forth. So this is a really good stretch for the hip flexors, which, let me tell you, if you sit all day or if you stand all day without a lot of movement around, your hip flexors are probably really happy whenever you do this stretch, okay? And we're making sure our hips are pointing forward the whole time, not opening out to the side like a warrior two. You want the pelvic bones always facing forward, no matter where you are in the position, all right? And now, our last exercise in this sequence, we take this nice wide squat position, hands on the knees to help keep them safely out over the feet. And we're just twisting one shoulder in towards the midline, then the other. And just going back and forth like that. And the only things that should be moving are your shoulders, okay? So we're not bouncing up and down out of the squat position. We're not letting a knee cave in and try and follow behind as the shoulder comes in. We are only twisting the shoulders, and that's it. And it's pretty easy, honestly. When you have your hands on your knees in this position, it just helps to lever them out and to prevent them from going anywhere that you don't want them to go. So that definitely helps. But it's good to keep in mind anyway that we don't want any movement there. All right, now we've hit cardio and we start with jumping jacks. So nice and easy. I don't usually have to describe too much about jumping jacks. We've all done them at various points. The main thing is that even though we've hit the cardio section of the warm-up, we are still not trying to go at 100% energy output, okay? So I want you to be doing little bare minimum jumping jacks, yeah? So not taking the feet out too far, keeping that bend in the elbows. And honestly, even when you're doing fuller jumping jacks in other parts of class, the bent elbows are frequently really nice if you have shoulder issues. It just reduces the range of motion that you have to cover, so it reduces the impact and the strain on your shoulder. But yeah, not too much that I need to say about jumping jacks generally, which is always nice. But this one, kick-throughs, I obviously have a lot of things to say. And this is an exercise that we take very slowly, especially if we're new at it. One hand flat on the floor, shoulder over the wrist as close as you can get it. The opposite leg is your standing leg. 90-degree angle with that leg, knee pointing up towards the ceiling. We kick the free leg across the body, then pull it in, come to the center, and switch. And we want that same positioning as we go back and forth, okay? Main things you want to avoid, you don't want to let your butt sink all the way down to the floor and be pushing way back from your hand, and you don't want that knee to be caving forward again, as per usual. But if this is a new exercise to you, take it one piece at a time while you're getting used to all the different components. But now we finish out with burpees. Most of us know how to do burpees. We do a wave push-up in this class, not a plank, okay? And then a nice big victory clap up at the top of the position, okay? So even if you can do a plank push-up, that's not what the exercise is here, okay? So we're doing a wave push-up, keeping those elbows right in by the sides, not letting them fan out, okay? And this is how we finish up our warm-up. Gotta love it. And that means, since this is perpetual motion, that as soon as the timer ends, we will immediately, from wherever we are, get up on our feet and start doing cross jacks, okay? So I will demonstrate that to you as soon as we hear the horn. So cross jacks, a cousin of the jumping jack. So we're jumping our feet out and in, crossing one in front of the other, and then switching. And we're bringing our hands out to the sides and in, one crossed on top of the other, and then switching, okay? There are modifications that you can do. You can do the hands while kicking the feet forward. I've seen that. You can also just do a side-to-side, jog essentially. Just make sure you keep moving. Woo! And make sure your water, I should have said this earlier, make sure your water is somewhere where you can grab it from a standing position, because we will always be in that standing position to do cross jacks when we're on our rests. So you want to make sure that you're able to hydrate. All right. We are going to start with a fully guided set. So these are 2-minute sets. We've only got 2 exercises in them. But not only do I tell you when to switch back and forth between them, I also give you a very specific rhythm that you need to perform the exercises on, okay? So this takes it a step further than our Simon Says. So the 2 exercises are going to be squat jumps and toe squats. So for our squat jumps, got our feet about shoulder width apart. Small squat down, no more than 45 degrees. Jump, jump, just like that. Landing on the bent leg, keeping those knees straight over the feet. And then for our toe squats, feet hip width apart, core engaged. We want to keep the back straight up and down, and come all the way down to the bottom, and all the way back up. All right? So I'm going to be counting out a rhythm. You'll be doing 5 squat jumps, then 4 toe squats, and you'll just go back and forth until I tell you otherwise. So everybody's cross-jacking on your mats, and I'm going to count you in with the rhythm, okay? So 5 and 6, and here we go. And jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and here we go. And jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back to jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back to jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and here's our last set. And jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and take a rest. Good job. And by rest, I mean back to cross jacks. Sorry, I feel like that was a little bit of false advertising, but it has rest in the name. And I do want you to really think about how you find the rest in the active rest, okay? It seems counterintuitive. You're moving, you're keeping that heart rate going, like obviously, but there is rest in the active rest, and I want you to look for it, okay? All right. Now we are going to do some perpetual motion. So we're going to be alternating perpetual motion sets with those guided sets for the rest of class. And we are going to start with our perpetual motion sets. The first one is going to be a 9-minute set. So 1-minute intervals, 3 exercises 3 times through, okay? And then they're all going to get shorter and shorter from there, which is awesome. So our first set of 3 exercises, we've got goblet front lunge, which normally would be a weighted exercise with a kettlebell, but we can do it as a body weight exercise too. So we're going to start just in a standing position. My feet are not right next to each other. I call this the ski position. Imagine you have skis on your feet, and you want to make sure that as you're moving legs forward and back, that you're not moving them in front or directly behind the other foot. So just imagine that you're wearing skis, and if you tried to do that, you'd whack yourself in the ankle and it would hurt. So starting from a standing position and just stepping forward into a nice double bent leg lunge, push back to standing, and other side, all right? Making sure the toes are not pushing super far forward when you go. All right, second exercise is going to be our slow leg lower. So legs straight up in the air. We introduce a tilt in the pelvis to flatten the lower back against the floor, so you can't even get a fingertip under there, and then slowly lowering the legs, stopping every 15 degrees or so to hold for 2 seconds. And you want to make sure that lower back is flat on the floor the whole time. If you can make it all the way down to here, still in that position, then you can start to reverse. Same thing. If not, just reset, start again. And then last exercise is just push-ups. So you can do wall push-ups, incline push-ups off of furniture. You can do from the knees. You can do traditional plank, half wave, half plank, full wave. Most important thing is shoulders directly over the wrists and making sure that your elbows stay glued to your sides the whole time, okay? So that is what we are going to do. So everybody's still doing their cross jacks, and as soon as you hear the horn, you will go into those goblet front lunges, and then slow leg lowers, and then push-ups. So we're chilling here, still doing our active rest. There we go. So immediately into those goblet front lunges. Remembering always for this class, starting on time has a different definition than it does for classes that are more focused on Tabata intervals, okay? Because when you're doing a Tabata, you're always starting from a full rest position. So you have time to sort of get ready, get in position, be like, okay, this is going to be the easiest way for me to then start immediately when I hear that fanfare. For our perpetual motion sets, we have to keep doing the exercise that we're doing until we hear that horn, and then we have to transition into the next exercise and immediately start doing that. So what starting on time means to us for this class is, yawning, no, is minimizing the amount of time it takes us. So right here, minimize the amount of time it takes you to transition from those goblet front lunges down to the slow leg lower, okay? And that's going to look different for each exercise. Some exercises have a relatively contained range of motion, so it's pretty easy to guess where you're going to be in the exercise at any given time. Other exercises have a huge variation in where you may be. If we were doing burpees in this, there are so many positions that you could be in, and you need to know what's my exit strategy to the next exercise from any one of those positions, all right? So that's always a thing to pay attention to as I give you the exercises for the next set. Pay attention to how much of a range of motion there is in the overall exercise, and start thinking about how you get from one to the next. So now from those slow leg lowers, we flip over, we start doing push-ups. That's a relatively easy transition, right? Because slow leg lowers, basically everything is in the same position the whole time except for your legs. So all you have to do is bring the legs down, roll over, and you're ready to do push-ups. Unless you're getting up and doing incline or wall push-ups, in which case it's still easy to get there or to figure out the path for it. It just takes you a little bit longer to finish that transition. And so that's what I want you to focus on. When we talk about the bare minimum in these classes, and I guess I haven't said that yet today, but focusing on the bare minimum in order to give ourselves a good starting place and a really good workout. Starting on time, stopping on time, and doing the exercise correctly. So we can just focus on those three things, and we're going to get an amazing workout. So now we've come back around, and we are in our second of 3 total cycles through these exercises. So as you're doing these goblet front lunges, I want you to check in on your form. I want it to be just as good here as it was at the beginning. So one of the main things is when you step forward, you need to make sure that this knee is not pushing past the edges of your toes. You want, ideally, to have as much of a perpendicular line of the shin as you can. So you may have to step forward a lot farther than you think that you do, but you also need to make sure to stop that forward momentum so that you don't just keep going forward and pushing that knee forward, okay? So it's a little bit of a balancing act. It's a weird one. All right, and now back to those slow leg lowers. Remembering that pelvic tilt, that engagement, so I've engaged the core, that tilts the pelvis up, that flattens my lower back against the floor, and I want that connection between my lower back and the floor no matter where I am, okay? And I love this exercise. It is a great exercise for assessing where your core strength is, and it's a great exercise for strengthening your core. All right, so it does double duty. We love exercises like that. Yeah, you really need to make sure that that connection between the lower back and the floor is secure, okay? And you can't really compensate with any other muscle groups not to keep that connection. You just have to engage the core muscles and not let them go. And now coming around to our push-ups. Push-ups, I love. I think push-ups are a fantastic exercise. And it's so exciting that they're a body weight exercise too. They do so much good work. One of the things, if you struggle with push-ups, and I definitely have in my life, that may mean that you need to put a little more work into strengthening your shoulders, strengthening and stabilizing your shoulders. For a lot of those types of exercises where we're sort of up on the hands and nice straight arm, or bending the arm and then pushing back, a lot of that requires on the strength, stability, and stamina of your shoulders. And we're not necessarily always well trained to build those things up. So I really didn't turn a corner on push-ups until I started doing PT for my shoulder stuff. All right, our last time through these exercises. So back to those goblet front lunges. Last time, and again, check in on that form every single time. Form is the bedrock of everything that we do here, okay? So, as I've said many times before, and I'm sure we'll say many times again, I would rather that you do just 2 perfect reps of something and just stop and stand around for the rest of the timer than give me 20 reps of increasingly bad form, okay? Because we're training our bodies right now. We are training our bodies in how we want them to move. And we want to make sure that we're training them safely and we're training them correctly. Because when we get tired, when we get fatigued, and our mind starts to wander, we will default into the patterns that our bodies have memorized. So we want to make sure those patterns are good patterns. All right, back to the slow leg lower. This is definitely an exercise I recommend to people who are struggling with core strength. Because again, it's pretty much impossible to compensate with other muscle groups. So you don't have to worry about that as much. And B, a lot of abdominal exercises, if you're not careful, people end up compensating by trying to pull themselves forward using their head or their neck, and then we end up with, oh man, every time I try to do crunches, my neck gets really stiff. Well, that's because you're not actually using the core as the driving engine. But if you don't have that strength yet, it can be hard to get there. All right? All right, and last time for push-ups. Yeah, so there are obviously plenty of different arm positions that we can take for push-ups. I favor this position with our elbows glued in by our sides. It really focuses the effort on the triceps, and I think helps us to keep a little bit of a safer shoulder position. So whenever we're doing push-ups in this class, that's the style that I'm looking for. But if you've learned other types of push-ups, it's not that they're wrong. They're totally not. Okay? This is just my preferred way of having folks do push-ups. Hey, and we all have our preferences, even teachers. Being a teacher just means that I get to voice my preferences on the rest of you. Perfect. I thought it would be okay without AC on because I'm not taking class, but man. All right, and then back into those cross jacks, my dears. Yeah, back into those cross jacks. Make sure you're drinking water. Yes, it's difficult because you're bouncing around. No, you don't get to stop and stand while you drink that water. So if you've ever run, a half marathon, any sort of road race, you hopefully have learned the skill of drinking water while bouncing around and not choking on it. And that's a skill that will serve you well today. All right. So we're going to go and do another one of those guided sets. Exact same set, exact same sequence, exact same amount of time. All right. So still doing squat jumps and toe squats, 5 squat jumps, 4 toe squats. I will still be beating out the rhythm for you, okay? And still 2-minute total interval. So don't you love it when there's something that we just get to come back to? You don't have to be like, oh my God, what do I have to learn this time? Because you already learned it. Now it's about perfecting it. Yeah. And yes, I know how intense these are. I had forgotten for a while, and then I tried to do them alongside y'all in some class a while ago, and I was just like, oh, these are a lot harder than I thought they were. All right, so everybody's doing their cross jacks, hopefully drinking your water, and getting prepped for our guided set. All right, everybody knows what's up. I'm going to count you in. You keep doing those cross jacks until it's time to start the squat jumps. All right? So here we go. 5 and 6, and here we go. And jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back to jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back to jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back 2 jumps, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2, and up, 2, and down, 2, and up, 2, and down, 2, and up, 2, and down, 2, and last set now, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump, and jump. Toe squats down, 2, and up, 2, and down, 2, and up, 2, and down, 2, and up, 2, and down, 2, and back to cross jacks. Yeah. Woo! Back to those cross jacks. Good job, my friends. Good job. Yeah. It is intense to do a class like this as this sort of perpetual motion, not stopping moving the whole time. You know, this is a lot of high intensity activity that we don't usually associate with these types of stamina activities. So if you are here and you are crushing class, whatever that means, I am super proud of you. All right? I'm so proud. All right, so we're going to do another perpetual motion set. This time, 45-second work intervals. So we're reducing the work interval by 15 whole seconds, my friends. Wow. So exciting. Okay, and we've got 3 totally different exercises this time. So first is going to be a turtle burpee. So if you've taken class with me long enough, you know that anything turtle related starts by rolling up on the shoulders, then up on the feet. For this, we then plant the hands, jump back into that plank, wave push up, jump the feet forward, just jump up like that. We don't have to do the victory clap, and then repeat, okay? So it's different enough from your regular burpee that you're probably going to have to pay a little bit closer attention while you're doing it. All right, second exercise is a full body pike extension. So starting balanced on our tailbones, legs lifted, arms forward. Then we extend arms and legs away from each other but still lifted off the ground, so you need that core engagement. And then core pulls us all the way back together into that balance. And we do that over and over again. And last exercise, I know that you're doing a ton of these already and you're going to do more. Toe squats. You know them. We've already done them several times. I don't need to dig into that form for you. So those are our exercises. Turtle burpees, full pike extensions, and our toe squats. So as soon as you hear that horn, you're cross-jacking away. As soon as you hear the horn, immediately into this exercise. So for our turtles, one thing I don't focus in a ton on is that you really need that core engagement when you're doing the roll, because you want that rounded back, lower back, and mid back. So that you can do this nice roll, get a lot of momentum, so that you can come all the way up here onto the feet. All right, and you may need to modify. You may need to push up with a hand or fold a knee over and push yourself up that way. And that's fine. Just pay attention to how it impacts the momentum of the rest of the exercise. And now those full body pike extensions. Here is an opportunity to really focus in and make sure that it is the core that is doing the work, okay? And you don't really have the opportunity to like pull yourself by your head, but there are still ways that we can try and compensate. So I really want you to focus in. I want you to feel that contraction. The abdominals, when we contract the muscles, that means we're shortening them. So we are, if the muscle is stretched this far normally, like this far normally, we contract and it shortens like this, and that is what pulls everything together. All right, now you're doing toe squats, and remembering, of course, that we want to keep the back as straight up and down as possible, and we need that core support so that our torso doesn't try to pull us off the balance when we come down to the bottom of the position, because this is a balance. We're just balancing on the balls of our feet, all right? And if our torso isn't controlled and engaged, then we're much more likely to go falling every which way, all right? So always make sure that before you start a toe squat, that core is engaged. All right, coming back around. Second time through. Yeah. Second time through, back to those turtle burpees. I do love this exercise because it reminds me of childhood in this wonderfully visceral way. You know, there are so few opportunities that adults get to just play around with those fully momentum-based, like rolling around exercises, activities, you know, somersaults and cartwheels and stuff like that. And we close ourselves off from the fun that movement can be as we get older. And I don't think that's right. So I hope you enjoy the turtles as much as I do. Now going back into those full body pikes, really focusing in on that core again. That contraction, that shortening of the muscles. Basically think of it as shortening the distance between your sternum and your belly button, okay? And that's going to help you to visualize that contraction, and that's what pulls you back up into the balance on your tailbone, into that pike position, that sort of folded V position, okay? So these are the things to think about. Huzzah! All right, coming back around for more toe squats. Remember that you are in control of the movement at all times. Gravity is going to want to help you. Gravity thinks that it's looking out for your best interests, and we appreciate that. But we do not want gravity's help. If you are letting go, sort of releasing and letting yourself just bounce down to the bottom, you're putting really unhealthy pressures on your knees. And our knees are so important to so much of our movement. So no matter how fast you're going, you need to be in control of the movement the whole time, all right? Always check in on that. Never let that fall by the wayside. All right, last time through. Coming back to the fun of childhood with our turtle burpees. How does that feel for you? Mentally, I always find it really interesting to go back and forth between turtle burpees and regular burpees. And we had a little bit of distance from the warm-up before we started doing these, so it's not quite as noticeable. But when we do sets where we end the warm-up with regular burpees and then start the next set with turtle burpees, it is fascinating to see the points where your brain is like, no, wait, this feels wrong. No, wait, it's the other thing that's wrong. No, wait, where am I? That just helps us keep engaged. All right, back to those cores. You know how much I love a good core workout. I wish I was doing these exercises with you right now. Just the core ones, though. That's really what I'm all about right now. But yeah, getting that core workout in. I don't know where that came from, but you know what? Here it is. And we are gonna really just make sure that you are exhaling on the effort. That big exhalation really helps to propel you back up to the bounce. And I have a hard time demonstrating it because I'm usually talking. But that's what you should be doing. That's what I would be doing if I wasn't talking. And now coming back around to those toe squats. Last time for toe squats until we do them again in the very next set. Sorry. I don't know why I put toe squats so much in this. I mean, I like toe squats too. I know why I put them in, because toe squats are awesome. And if you like hiking, if you do any sort of activity where thigh strength is important, then these are a great exercise for you. Just checking in on that form, making sure that core is still engaged, making sure you're still in control of the movement the whole time, and back into those cross jacks right away. Awesome. Hiya. Oh, good job, everybody. How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? I bet you're feeling tired, but I hope you're feeling proud because you were doing such a great job. And we've got just 2 more sets to get through, okay? And then we're gonna do calf awareness because that's how we like to end these classes. But yeah, just 2 more sets. You've got this. You're rocking this. So last time for our guided set, at this point, you know the drill, you know the rhythm, you know the exercises. So this time around, I want you to really focus in on your form. You're probably a little more fatigued now, okay? Which makes sense because we've been doing class for a while. So I want you to really summon all of that concentration, engage your brain, make sure that you are paying attention to that form the whole time. And it doesn't matter that you're doing someone else's rhythm, you're still hanging on to that form, okay? And make sure you're drinking water, my friends. I'm doing a pretty good job of getting through. Pretty pleased. Gonna be doing a weekly series on Instagram called Where's the Water Line? Where I take pictures of how much water I managed to drink during class. So we'll see. This week should be good for me because I have a lot more time to drink water. All right. So everybody's doing their cross jacks. Everybody knows the guided set. So getting ready. Remember, keep doing the cross jacks until it's time to start those squat jumps. All right. So 5 and 6 and here we go. And jump and jump and jump and jump and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back, 2 jumps and jump and jump and jump and jump and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back, 2 jumps and jump and jump and jump and jump and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back, 2 jumps and jump and jump and jump and jump and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and last set now. And jump and jump and jump and jump and jump. Toe squats down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and up, 2 and down, 2 and back to cross jacks. Yeah! Awesome. Good job, everybody. Woo! Woof. Those sets are intense. They are no joke. And they seem like they should be easy. They're like super short little sets. You know, they seem like they should be easy, but particularly because we usually do them on perpetual motion days. You don't really get to stop when you stop doing them, and that adds up. All right, so, woo, big yawn. All right. So, last perpetual motion set is going to be 30-second intervals. So, reduced by another 15 seconds. Yay! And here are our 3 exercises. Stop that. Stop that. Oh my God. Okay. 3 exercises. So we're going to do box curtsies. We don't have a box, so we're just doing curtsies. So basically, I start from a standing position. I come up onto one leg and I plie. I squat that leg down, reaching the other leg behind me, but basically all of my weight is on that forward leg. Then stand, change legs, and down the other way. So if we had a box, you'd be letting that back leg come off the edge of the box. You wouldn't be able to really put any weight on it. Obviously, when we're doing them off the floor, you can. So you have to focus a lot more on, I want basically all of that weight to be here on this front leg. Okay? We just go back and forth. Second exercise, shrimps. So everybody's favorite core, no, my favorite core, where we are moving ourselves back and forth along the length of the mat by starting this rocking position, engaging that core, contracting it, and then first moving the shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips. And when you get to the end of the mat, just start going back the other direction. All right? And then the third exercise is kick-throughs. I don't have to explain kick-throughs, I already did in the warm-up. So yeah, kick-throughs are going to be our third. So box curtsies, shrimps, and kick-throughs. 30-second work intervals, my friends. So a little bit less time. And then you will go back into cross jacks briefly, just so I can set up the timer for calf awareness. But for now, as soon as you hear that horn, you will begin doing your box curtsies. So there you are, starting right in. And yeah, you want still, so it's an interesting position because my thigh is sort of at a diagonal, but I still want my knee to be directly over my foot, not coming out this way, okay? And then when I stand back up, that knee is still safely over that foot. So really pay attention to that positioning. We don't want to lose that knee position. All right, and our shrimps. Remember, if you have trouble with the isolation, moving the shoulders, the torso, and then moving the hips without moving other areas of the body, you can always start with just these small boat rocks, keeping that contraction firm and visualizing the movement that you would be doing if you were actually taking it along the mat, okay? And with our kick-throughs, yeah, I recommend taking them as slowly as you need to. Again, it's an exercise with a lot of moving parts, and you can get to a point where, you know, you're moving side to side a little more quickly. You can add a little jump in the middle there, but work up to that. And honestly, don't feel pressured to get there, okay? All right, second time through. Wow, these sequences are so short. So we're back on those box curtsies, yeah? And checking in on those legs. Remember, this is our last big push. We do have to go back into cross jacks at the end of it, but this is the last big push because our calf awareness is our cool down sequence. So, woo! Yeah, you can dig in and find all that remaining energy. Let it all out on the mat right now. All right, back into those shrimps. Yeah, and if you want to try and push yourself a little bit more for speed here, go for it. Now is the time to do it. Remember, you have just done basically I mean, not basically a half marathon, because a half marathon would take you a lot more time than just an hour. Well, it would take most of us a lot more time than just an hour. Not everybody. But, all right, back to those kick-throughs. But you have just done a full hour of non-stop movement, which included a lot of high-intensity work. So if where you are right now is just, I want to get to the end of this set, that is awesome, and you should be very proud of that, okay? Your success criteria is always specific to you, all right? I'm not the one giving you your success criteria. If your success criteria is, I want to go for a PR on something today, awesome. If your criteria is, I would just like to try and keep moving the whole time, great. Either way, I'm super proud of you. You're doing your last set of box curtsies right now, checking in on that knee positioning. Form on the third one should be just as good as the form at the beginning was. All right, do not lose track of that form. All right, now back to shrimps. Last time for shrimps. So if you've been doing the boat rock, try to actually get the movement in there this time. See how it feels to try and move back and forth along the mat. If you find yourself spinning in circles, just go back to the boat rock, it's okay. That happens to a lot of people when they start out with this exercise. It does require a lot of understanding how to isolate movements of parts of your body that are not used to isolating movement. All right, and last but not least, those kick-throughs. Coming back around, finishing class almost as we began it. Remember, when the horn goes off again, you will stand up, you will get back into those cross jacks, but only long enough for me to update the timer so that we can then do some nice balances for our calf awareness. So finishing out those kick-throughs with style, and now standing back up and getting back into cross jacks. And just give me 1 sec. I mean, obviously longer than a second, but not too long. When the timer goes off, you're just going to balance flat on one foot, okay? Hey, so here we are. You're just going to balance flat on the foot. And we can start out with just trying to slow your breath and slow your heart rate, okay? So this is truly our cool down sequence. So we start with just going, okay, we can reduce the intensity of impact on our cardiovascular system and start letting our systems know that we're shutting down the exercise needs for right now, okay? Then we can start to focus in on what's going to help us in the balance itself, yeah? So with this balance, we want to be making any micro adjustments that we need to maintain it, using only the foot and the ankle, okay? We don't want leg flying around, we don't want tightrope arms, nothing like that. So how do we do that? Well, as we switch sides, so other side, same thing, I will tell you, it comes down to those stabilizing muscle groups, all right? So we start with the core, so the torso's not going anywhere, then we engage the glute on the working leg, and the quads on the working leg, and that ties everything together. So basically everything from the knee up is one cohesive piece. And so by the time we get down to the ankle, it has the opportunity to just maneuver that one piece rather than a lot of disparate limbs trying to do their own thing, okay? So never underestimate the importance of the stabilizing muscle group. Now when the timer goes off again, we will go back to that first side, but this time we will be balancing up on the ball of the foot, okay? So again, only on one leg, but we're balancing on the ball of the foot. And this is going to ramp that challenge rating up. All right, so there you are. You're back on that first foot, balancing up on the ball of the foot. This is where we start to become really aware of what surface we're on, okay? And there are pros and cons with any surface. So I usually am on these puzzle pieces, which are great for jumps and for anything that's high impact on my joints. It helps to soften that. But They're harder for balance positions because they're very flexible surfaces. So they don't stay firm under my foot. They depress and deform around it. And that makes the balance a lot more difficult. However, if I go onto the flat wood floor to try and do that balance, then I feel the impact of that rigidity on the ball of my foot. So it's a balancing act. Sorry, I truly didn't actually mean to do that. Wow. Wow. All right, other side. And you will probably find yourself falling out of this position more frequently than you wish you could, and that's fine. What I want you to focus on is if you feel like you're not able to maintain it, rather than just letting yourself fall, I want you to try to really control and just go, okay, I'm going to control bringing that heel down. I'm going to reset, come back into the position, hold as long as I can. Because that action of slowly bringing that heel down also helps to work the calf, okay? So you're still getting that nice calf impact, even if you're not maintaining the balance the whole time. Now when the timer goes off again, we go back to that first foot, but now we're doing a moving balance. So now we will be rocking up on the ball of the foot and then back on the heel. Up on the ball and back on the heel. And we just go back and forth. So there you go. Back on that first foot. Remember, you don't have to keep your torso straight up and down for this, okay? So it's easy for it to remain straight up and down when I go up on the ball of the foot. When I rock back on the heel, I can let my butt come out behind me a little bit. That just reduces some of the impact on the shins, which when we do that when we pull the toes up, the shins are really, it's their shortening motion that's helping to really pull those toes up. So it's an intense impact. So don't feel like you have to keep your torso straight up and down when you do that, okay? And for our moving balance, one thing that can really help us is finding a point either ahead of us on the floor or on the wall in front of us. And, okay, switch to the other side, same thing. But we find an unmoving point. And we just focus all of our energy on it and all of our attention on it. And that helps to just stabilize us in the room, okay? Where we're not sort of looking around all over the place, and as my gaze goes over here, my balance starts to fall because I'm like, oh, I should go in this direction. All right, so just giving ourselves something that we can focus on, and it helps to root us right here in the same place as we go back and forth in those positions. All right, last position's coming up when that timer goes off. Both feet on the floor. And we just rock back onto both heels, and we do not let the toes come back down to the floor until that timer ends, okay? So here we are, both feet on the floor, we're balancing on both heels. And you don't have to, if you feel like you're gonna fall out, just shuffle around a little bit, real awkwardly, real weirdly, and then try and hold that balance again. Engage those abdominals. You can let the hips, try and compensate for your balance going places. Just be aware, if I'm here and I'm like, ooh, I need to compensate, I'm going to fall backwards, so I'm going to shift my hips here. Well, then you're more likely to, whoops, I fell out of position in that direction, okay? So just keep that in mind. But this is our last position, really putting the impact on the shins. Oh man, we're breathing, obviously. We still need to be breathing. We're feeling that engagement, that intensity. We're enjoying our balance. And feet on the floor, you are done. Here, let's just quickly do quick standing quad stretch. So one hand on the wall, other hand takes that foot, pulls the heel into your butt as close as you can. Just gets that nice quad stretch in. Other side. We're not doing a huge stretch here. And then we can do our calf stretches off the wall. So I'm extending one leg behind me. I want to get that heel flat against the floor. Having that added pressure as I push against the wall helps me to deepen that stretch. I'm going to go for the other side. And if you're like, well, this is easy, you can adjust the intensity of the stretch based on how far back you take your foot, okay? And then let's just roll over the tops of the toes, okay? Stretch out. You can feel that stretch going up the top of the foot and into the shins. And there we are. Oh my goodness. Good job, everybody. Woo! Oh. Yeah, really good job, my friends. What a great class. I know I didn't actually do class with you, but it was still a great class. And I am always super proud of everybody who does this class because it is an intense one. So pat yourself on the back and then come back here and check on that water. Oh, my friends. So yeah, this is what class will be like this week. While I'm on rest week, I will demonstrate things, but I will not be doing class alongside you. We have fun no matter what, right? even if I'm not fully suffering with you, we still have a good old time, and I get to dig a little bit more into form and technique, which is nice, and it can get lost sometimes when I'm, trying to focus my brain on teaching and doing the exercise and talking the whole time. Multitasking is hard, and we're not actually that great at it. So I like these weeks because I feel like I get to go a little bit harder into teacher mode, which can be really nice. But speaking of teacher mode, we have 3 more classes this week. Tomorrow, Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time is Jump Around, our weekly cardio class. Friday at 5 p.m. is Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around your house. And I will be in a different location, so I will have to find all new objects. Oh my god. And then Saturday morning at 9 a.m. is the weekend kickoff, our awesome strength and stamina focused body weight class. So definitely join me for any or all of those classes. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All those handles will be in my end cards, but they are all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload all the VODs from these streams, so you never have to miss a class, even if you can't make the live cast. So definitely head over there and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, I have a Coffee account for one-time donations, or you can subscribe to this channel if you're able to support a little bit more long-term. And if you want to help me keep growing this channel and this community, then please tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for an awesome class. I stream 4 days a week. We have a great community here, and the more the merrier. Now, make sure to finish off that water, although you can take a picture for where's my water line. That's what I'll be doing before I finish it off, but make sure to finish it. Make sure to refill it. Get that hydration going. Start replenishing those glycogen stores, especially if you want to come to class tomorrow. It takes about 24 hours to fully replenish, so gotta get going now. Make sure to take that celebratory post-workout shower, and I will see you all back here again tomorrow. Mwah. Have a great night.